Well, my dear friends, you're still wondering how long the sermon's going to be. Don't worry, you can sleep during the Lion game. They will. You must be a season seat holder. Anyway, as case might be, I got 3 little vignettes, little stories, okay? So please stay awake. Remember, the Lord says, stay awake, for you know not when the hour comes. It's in about 40 minutes. Anyways, the case might be, and we've all been there, or we all have had kids who pulled this on us. This child graduates from high school and goes away to college, and they are happier than a bird in flight. They can set their own schedule. They are not responsible for mom or dad. They don't have to sit at the kitchen table to do their homework. And so they're having a good time away at school, making all kinds of friends, doing all kinds of things. And lo and behold, they go to class, but just enough to make it count. They're wise on that one, aren't they? Then they come home for Thanksgiving vacation. Thanksgiving. And then they go back to school and it hits them. You got 2 weeks to the end of the semester. You got a psych paper you haven't started that's due in a week. You've got a lab report with experiments that's due. And your history book hasn't even been cracked yet. But you have exams, don't you? And of course, then the excuses come out. The teacher, the prof, well, they're boring. I'm so busy. I can't get to this, that, or the other. I'm overtired from doing what? I don't know. And so what comes is shown at the grades at the end of the semester. The kid's an empty lantern. Back in the 70s, and some of you can remember those, I know I do, there was a songwriter by the name of Harry Chapin, The Cat's in the Cradle. The song told this story about this young boy, this little kid, kept going to his father, Dad, you got me this sled. For Christmas, can we go out so I can use it? Son, I'll make time for it later. I got things to do now. Dad, for my birthday, you gave me a baseball glove and a ball. Can we go out and play catch? Son, I got things to do. Get around to it. Dad, I got some questions to ask you. Son, I'll be with you in a few hours. And as the song goes and the story goes, the boy grows up to be just like the father. And the father retires. And he realizes there are fewer days, years ahead of him than there are behind him, so he wants to talk to his son about something important. And so he calls his son on the phone because the son now lives in another city with his wife and family. Son, I'd like to talk to you about something important. Dad, I'll get to it. I'm being, hassled with the kids. Got problems with the wife. Plus, I got to work overtime. The father was, and the kid is, an empty lantern. And then there's one that I remember because it happened in this parish. This mom lost her husband, and she had a number of kids, I think 3. And they had children. and she would babysit the grandkids all the time. She was good enough for that. But the day came when she caught COVID. And she got isolated in the hospital. It's called McLaren. And the kids couldn't even see her until she was in the funeral home, Will and Schwarzkopf. And the son at the funeral cried. I asked him after, why are you crying? I never had the time, get this, I never had the time to tell my mother I loved her. Or thank you for babysitting your grandchildren, our son and daughter. That son was an empty lantern. It has a lot to do with this gospel. You see, sometimes we're like the foolish virgins. And we bring our lanterns, but we don't bring the oil, enough oil to keep them burning. The oil of responsibility, the oil of understanding, of forgiveness, mercy, compassion, love, making time for each other. And then the time goes by because you see, we're so busy making a life, a living, that we don't make a life. During the last few days, I spent a whole lot of time watching the news about the election. How many of you did? Come on, be honest. Confessions are Saturday at 2:30, unless you're waiting for the burning of sins. But we all do it, don't we? Somehow we have great plans for our lives and our relationships with those we call by name, but life derails us, responsibilities derail us, and our priorities go out the door. That's the story of the virgins. God gives us time, but we have to provide the fuel, the oil. Outside the walls of this church, I was sad to see so many people taking time to argue against each other during this whole episode. I thought it was rather foolish to carry arms openly. Wouldn't it be nice if we took the time to sit down and talk to each other? Because life is lived in life and relationships, not on the internet and not on news bites. But life is lived between people who actually care and take the time. In the days and the months and the 4 years to come, wouldn't it be nice if we filled our lives with fuel so there was a bonfire of peace? God bless.